La Coruna is one of those cruise ports that a lot of people don't really know what to expect from. It doesn't have the instant name recognition of Barcelona or Rome, and when you search for information, it can feel a bit vague. Is there enough to do? Do you need an excursion? Is it walkable? And is it actually worth getting off the ship? I've visited La Coruna more than once now, including on P&O Arvia and on Sky Princess, and it's one of those ports that quietly surprises people. It's calm, it's easy, and if you understand how it works, it can be one of the most relaxing days of the whole cruise. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 10 things you genuinely need to know about La Coruna Cruise Port, so you can plan your day properly, avoid overdoing it, and enjoy this port for what it really is. Let's start with something that can subtly change your whole day, where your ship actually docks in La Coruna. The first thing you need to know is that La Coruna is usually a walk-off port, but where your ship docks can change slightly depending on how many ships are in that day. On both of my visits, my ship docked right by the city centre, and I was able to walk straight off into town within a few minutes. But on one of those visits, when Sky Princess was in port at the same time as Arcadia was docked a little further away, which meant passengers on that ship had a longer walk or needed to use a taxi instead. Most of the time, La Coruna is incredibly easy. But if there are 2 ships in port, your walk into town might be slightly longer than expected. It's still simple, just worth being aware of before you set off. And one thing that often surprises people in La Coruna is that there isn't really a traditional cruise terminal like you get in places such as Barcelona or Livorno. There's a small security area, but once you're through it, you're basically in the city itself. You don't get big duty-free shops or sit-down waiting areas here, but you don't need them either. You're already in the center of La Coruna, and there's even a spot just outside the port gates where you can pick up free Wi-Fi if you need it before heading off. Once you know where you're docking, the next question is how easy it actually is to get around on foot. Once you're off the ship, La Coruna is one of the easiest ports in Spain to explore on foot. The city centre sits right on the harbour, and you don't need a shuttle bus or public transport just to get started. You can walk straight into the Old Town, the marina area, and the main square within minutes. This is one of those ports where you can simply wander without a plan and still have a really good day. And if you're sailing from Southampton, this can be a really welcome first port. If you've had a choppy crossing through the Bay of Biscay, even just getting off the ship, stretching your legs, and having a gentle walk around town can feel like exactly what you need. You don't have to rush anywhere here, and that makes a big difference. Taxis are available right by the port if you want them, but most people don't need one, unless they're heading further out, which we'll come to shortly. Before you plan your day, it really helps to understand what kind of destination La Coruna actually is. La Coruna is on Spain's Atlantic coast, and it feels very different to the Mediterranean. It's greener, cooler, and more changeable. Even in summer, it can be breezy, and outside peak months, it can feel quite fresh. I've been here in both July and October, and on both visits, the day started off a bit wet before clearing up later on. Even then, it still felt noticeably cooler than other parts of Spain. My advice is simple: bring a light jumper and carry a raincoat in your bag. You might not need it, but if you do, you'll be very glad you brought it. Once you're ashore, most people naturally head straight into La Coruna's Old Town. La Coruna's Old Town is small, walkable, and very easy to enjoy at a relaxed pace. You've got narrow streets, local shops, cafes, churches, and little squares that all sit close together. The heart of it all is Plaza de Maria Pita, the main square, with the impressive town hall and a lovely open feel. This isn't a city where you need a checklist. Wandering works really well here. If there's one landmark everyone asks about in La Coruna, it's the Tower of Hercules. It is the symbol of La Coruna, and it's the oldest working Roman lighthouse in the world, which is pretty incredible. You can walk to it along the coastal path, or take a short taxi ride if you'd rather save your energy. You can climb it if you want to, but here's the honest part: you don't have to. The area around the tower, including the sculpture park and the coastal views, is just as enjoyable without climbing all the way to the top. Some of the best photos are actually taken from outside, with the lighthouse in the background. This is where a lot of people accidentally overdo it in La Coruna. This is one of those personal lessons I learned the hard way. On my first visit, I walked the entire coastal path, because it didn't look that long on the map. It was absolutely stunning. Some of the best coastal scenery I've seen on a cruise. But it was a long walk, and it takes far more time and energy than you expect. My advice is this: walk a section of it, enjoy the views, then turn back or loop inland. You don't need to complete the whole thing to get the best of La Coruna. Another really common question is whether La Coruna works well for families on a cruise. Yes, La Coruna works very well for families, especially if you want a low-stress port day. There are beaches close to the city, the aquarium is a popular option, and the city itself has lots of open space where children can roam safely. The sculpture park near the Tower of Hercules is particularly good for this. Kids can run around, play, hide and seek, and peer through the small stone windows in the sculptures. It's also easy to get around without complicated transport, which makes a big difference on a cruise day with children. If you're wondering how much planning you need around food, this is the good news. La Coruna is a great port for food without over-planning. You'll find plenty of cafes, tapas bars, and places serving local Galician dishes near the Old Town and Marina. This isn't a port where you need to book restaurants in advance. You can wander, stop when something looks good, and enjoy a relaxed meal without feeling rushed. This is the big decision most cruise passengers have to make in La Coruna. Santiago de Compostela is around an hour away and is one of Spain's most famous pilgrimage cities. It's impressive, historic, and absolutely worth seeing, but it does take most of your port day. If you're doing Santiago, I'd recommend booking through your cruise line. It removes the stress of timing, especially if traffic or weather causes delays. This is the question everyone asks, and the answer in La Coruna is actually much simpler than people expect. The final thing you need to know is this: La Coruna doesn't reward rushing. Mediterranean cruises can be very port-heavy. You might have long, full-on days in places like Barcelona, Florence, Pisa, or Rome, where you're on your feet for hours trying to fit everything in. La Coruna is one of those ports where you can consciously take your foot off the gas. For most people, a gentle wander through the Old Town, a section of the coastal path, and time to stop for food is more than enough for a really good day here. It's not packed with must-see attractions, and that's actually part of its charm. Once you stop trying to do everything, La Coruna becomes one of the most enjoyable ports of the cruise. So now you know exactly how La Coruna works as a cruise port. But not every Mediterranean stop is this straightforward. Barcelona is a very different port. Busier, more complex, and easier to get wrong. If Barcelona is coming up on your cruise, my full Barcelona cruise port guide is on screen now.